Good evening, salutations, my GH fans. You know what? Let's start off with Curtis for a minute. Because I'm going to be honest, this guy acted like a complete and utter jackass. Okay, he comes to Jordan and he wants her to sit there and unseal the arrest records of Marshall. He found some inconsistencies with his story, and some stuff was just a little kind of odd, and he doesn't know if he was in, West Second Night. So he's like, listen, could you help me out with that? And Jordan is like, no, because it's illegal. And he gets into this little tippy fit of an attitude, and is like, bro, I thought you would sit there and help me out after everything that you done put me through, everything that she done put you through. Are you mean marriage? Because, that's kind of what marriage is. And granted, there's a lot of ups and downs and there's a lot of faults on both of their sides. But for him to sit there and demand this, knowing that one, it's illegal, and two, she can, at the very least, lose her job. For him to sit there and get this type of attitude was just like, bro, kick rocks, okay? Take your ass and out this damn police station. Like, are you almost felt like, you know what, Jordan, maybe you should arrest him for that. Maybe you should. I couldn't believe he was acting this way. And with that being said, then he goes to Sonny and it's like, I need a favor. Oh, wow. Yeah, that actually happened. Seems like things are heating up between Nina and Sonny. They both Sonny was there to sit there and watch the bar. Nina came over there to sit there and talk to Phyllis, probably get some more advice that she's not going to listen to. And, they get to talk and they start talking about Nixon Falls and, they look at she looks at what do you call those damn things? Coasters. And, it has like a jukebox or whatever, and they sit there and think about Nixon Falls as far as like, they used to play songs and dance and stuff. So, Sonny turns on some music, they start dancing, and things start to get a little intense, but then, Sonny kind of backs down a little bit, and that's when Curtis comes in to ask for a favor, and it looked like, well, it was kind of funny because for a minute, it sounded like Sonny said, "Oh yeah, well, I gotta really get, I gotta get ready to leave or whatever." I was like, "What do you mean you gotta get ready to leave?" I mean, Nina, I understand that she wants to leave, but you're supposed to be watching Bar. I mean, you said this is the reason why you. Okay, I don't know what that was about. Now Victor is talking to, I think his name is Johan, and talking about the whole incident with Drew and the bridge scene and everything like that. And he's looking for somebody to sit there and pin this on Luke's murder, which is like, I'm not feeling that part. I'm not. I wasn't feeling it since day one, and I'm still not feeling it. Anyway, he runs into Ava and eventually Nicholas. Now he starts talking about how the family needs to get together, and we're running out of time, and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, running out of time? What are you talking about? Running out of time? Like, even Nicholas is like, what are you talking about? Like, what is this urgency with keeping the family together? I mean, it's not to talk about Spencer and how he may not be there because he's talking to Esme or Esme. I think her name is Esme. Talking to her. And so, he may or may not be there. And that's when Victor, like, snaps. It's like, no, this is unacceptable. And I'm like, bro, finally one of them or both of them is like, yo, let us in on this plan. Whatever's going on, we're family and we're all in this together. So why don't you sit there and let us know? Now, Victor says, yeah, okay, you're right. And it seems like he's going to sit there and let them in on a plan. But in reality, we all know he's not. We know he's going to sit there and make up some sort of lie. And, you know, to kind of calm down their curiosity. Now, Anna, Drew, and Sam, I'm gonna be honest. It's another one of those scenes where it's like it doesn't really go anywhere. All they do is, Anna catches them up on um, what happened over there with the guy interrogating him and him taking a cyanide pill or whatever. And Luke and his whole death or his accident wasn't really an accident, and how she can't really get too much clearance. And this is where Drew says something about Kim, because they're talking about what the hell is that name of that operation? Operation Demeter or something like that. And Drew's like, I have no idea what it is. And I think Anna's like, has, did you talk to Kim or whatever? And he was like, oh, well, Kim doesn't really know what it is. I'm like, so you talked to Kim before? Like, what is going on with that? I mean, this is another one of those stories where it's like they just kind of dumped. And it's important because, well, Kim was pregnant by, I'm assuming, um, Julian's baby, which would be important because technically, Ava, that would be like his, her nephew. But it's like they kind of just threw away that whole story and just act like it just still doesn't exist. Just like a lot of other things that they act like they don't exist, but whatever. Hell, even when Laura comes in, Laura's like, do you have any news for me or anything like that as far as trying to get, Victor arrested because they're going to be seeing him, unfortunately, in a couple hours. Um, there's another scene where it really didn't go anywhere. Now, let's talk quickly about Harmony and Alexis. Now, Harmony comes over there because she wants to sit there and try to get, a different perspective as far as working with Nina and, the whole Wiley thing. And Alexis is like, you know what? You're better off just staying away from that because Harmony already has reservations about getting involved, fearing that if she does, she may cause more tension between her and her daughter. But at the same time, she does want to sit there and see her grandson, and she already gets as little time with him as possible. So she's kind of conflicted as far as what to do. And you know what? On a side note, I was so tired yesterday. I totally forgot to mention the not even a veiled threat, just a threat that Ryan made to Harmony yesterday as far as once I get my plan activated or don't worry, I'll let you go soon, the only way I know how. I'm like, that's a threat. That's a threat and you should probably take that seriously. Um and I totally forgot to sit there and mention that, so my bad for that. Anyway, Alexis is like, listen, why don't you just stay out of it? They talk about Sean for a little bit, and I'm gonna be honest, it was one of those things where it's like, let's just, you know what? The fewer we bring up Sean, the better because they underutilize Sean. Sean wants to then get a relationship with Alexis. Alexis pulled out some BS excuse, and so yeah, that happened. Um, and long story short, Alexis, offered Harmony to live with her for a little bit. So I guess that whole romance is going to be happening sooner or later because, well, it just says. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm okay with it. Well, no, let me take that back. Let me let me take that back. I don't know exactly how I'm okay with that. I don't. You know what? It's really difficult. And here's the thing. I understand that Christina is trying to move on from that. As far as what Harmony, the role that Harmony played, as far as drugging Christina and having Shiloh do, God knows what with her. But I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think about that when I actually said that. You know what? I'm okay with that. I was like, wait, I don't know how I feel about that, but regardless of how I feel about it, it's gonna happen, and whatever. Now, if the Spencer comes back, He talks to, he hugs Laura, talks to Nicholas, and, that's when Esme comes downstairs, looking all angry and everything like that. Like, she got a suitcase ready and she's going to be leaving to go exactly where. I have no idea. With what money? Who knows? But, long story short, they get a chance to talk. Well, not really talk, just argue about the sex tape and, Spencer not really believing her and not believing that Trina could sit there and actually do that. And that's when, of course, Esme sits there and tries to turn the tables. Like, for all I know, you could have did it. I mean, growing up, you and Cam had, bad blood, and you can get in and out of Spring Ridge whenever you wanted to. You had just as much motive as I did. Um, so they're arguing and everything like that. And I'm gonna be honest, I know that Esme, um, the home pregnancy test dropped and Nicholas picked it up, and I mean, Spencer picked it up and looked at her like, like, you pregnant? I know that she did that deliberately because, well, to be honest, she's been doing everything so far. It's been very calculated, and it's funny because I sit there and look at Spencer and it's like I don't feel bad for him. I really don't because I'm like, yo, listen, if she's pregnant with your child, well, I mean, you're stuck with her, and to be honest, I don't feel bad for you. Um, but it makes me sit there and think about now for a little bit because, this is when Michael was going to break up with now and just kind of wash his hands from her. And that's when she was like, oh, well, what about the baby or whatever? It was like, well, you're stuck with her. But of course, she's dead, so that's not going to happen. But I'm like, bro, you, I mean, let's be honest. Esme was not a good person, but, you know, I mean, she isn't a good person, but I feel like between her looks and the fact that Spencer was probably isolated, like people didn't really mess with him except for the fact that he had money, he was pretty vulnerable. And, like Ryan said, it wasn't really hard to sit there and manipulate, a teenage boy. So, you know, I was just about to sit there and talk about Michael and Willow for a minute, and to be honest, nothing really important happened between those two, except for the fact that except for the fact that Willow was sitting there talking about how Harmony was being an actual real mother, and it was actually nice for her to sit there and feel that way because Harmony has always been about her first, and Willow whenever. I mean, let's be honest. We all know what she did to Willow as a child, growing up. The minute that she turned somewhat legal age, giving her up to Shiloh. So, honestly, to tell you the truth, I just don't understand how anyone can get past that, but whatever. Now, we sit there and talk about this whole, Nina, petition in the court for custody of Wiley. I gotta sit there and look at this whole thing like, all right, I know that certain laws and stuff like that just kind of get thrown out the window or tossed to the side because, it's about the plot first and everything else whenever. But in order to petition for court, in order to petition for visitation rights for Wiley, wouldn't you have to actually prove that you're Wiley's real grandmother as far as DNA is DNA is concerned? Now I know a lot of people have been pretty much saying they go through the whole court process, and she has to sit there and give a DNA sample as far as as far as Wiley is concerned, and to Nell, and she finds out that Nell isn't really her daughter. The only opening is gonna be Willow. So maybe that'll be a way for her to sit there and kind of bridge the gap a little bit. But I don't know if the adoption actually went through as far as Willow. I don't know if Willow actually. I don't remember because it's been so long. I don't know if she actually did adopt Wiley as her son or not. But because maybe if she did, then Nina would actually have a fighting chance as far as convincing Willow to spend more time with Wiley, but you know. But yeah, I just kind of want to sit there and talk about that because I was like, it was on my mind for the last couple of days, and I was like, and I kept sitting there reading the comments and stuff like that, and people were like, um, they like Nina doesn't even know for sure if she is, if Nella's a daughter just because she held some sort of pendant. And it just happened to be around the same time, and certain circumstances made it seem like, okay, yeah, Nella's really, Nina's daughter, but that's just circumstances. I mean, they never actually bothered to do a DNA test, so we really don't know. Um, But yeah, Willow and Michael didn't really do too much of anything. He can't really go to Paris because he has to sit there and go to court because he punched that guy in the face, which he totally did not regret. And I mean, we're all glad that he did that. I mean, granted, it was in front of Jordan, but let's be honest, the dude was a beta, and I don't use that term too often because again, I don't really feel like I'm an alpha, but my goodness, this guy. God makes me feel more like an alpha every day. My point is, he punched him in the face, regardless if Jordan was there, and for the most part, we're all happy about it. Um, yeah, to be honest, their scenes really don't go anywhere. Like, to be honest, it just really doesn't. I feel like that's about it. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like there was a lot of scenes that was wasted that didn't really go anywhere. Like Willow and Michael didn't really go anywhere. Sam, Drew, and Anna didn't really go anywhere. I mean, yeah, they're talking about the investigation and stuff like that, but did it really go anywhere? Like, do you have a plan or anything like that? When Laura came in, there was another scene that didn't really go anywhere. I actually had more fun watching Nina and Sunny. And I know a lot of people don't like Nina and Sunny together, and I get that. And let's be honest, we're all not going to sit there and always agree or be on the same page about a lot of stuff. Like, there was some people that love Jason and Carly together, and I sat there and it was like torture. It was like slow torture. Watching their wedding scene and everything like that. So I get it. I get it. But I enjoy Sunny and the Nina scenes. I enjoyed their scenes. Um, I feel like that's about it. This episode wasn't really great. It really wasn't, but it could have been a lot worse than it was. So, what else? Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.